Welcome to the Get Published podcast, sponsored by Brodie Consulting Group. To get more information about our coaching, publishing, executive ghostwriting, and podcast production services, go to getpublishedpodcast.com. Hello, I am Paul Brodie, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Get Published podcast, where we help authors get published with a proven system that works. And today, we're being joined by Scott MacKenzie, who is currently working on his first book called The Business Beatitudes. Scott, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you very much, Paul. Appreciate the opportunity to talk to your listeners.
Well, we're thrilled to have you. Are you ready to begin?
I am, and don't embarrass me, okay, Paul?
I'll do what I can. All right, Scott. So our first question is, what is the one piece of advice that you would give to a first-time author who is currently writing their book?
Okay, so one of the challenges that I had, and we spoke briefly prior to this particular podcast, is to be able to find help to coordinate your thinking, because it's one thing, just think about how many books exist out there in people's minds, but they can't get it moving forward. And for me, because I don't really write well, that's always a limitation. So I always need help to coordinate and to systematize the process. I'm a process guy. So I went down that road, and then when I started to talk or think about the business beatitudes, it was a clear indication of a process that I could see, and then I can chunk it. Because if I didn't have like those clear chunks of content to focus on, it would be much more of a mush. So the recommendation is try to truly, from me, flow it out in a process and be able to look at chunks of work that are manageable, as opposed to just the whole thing. And it's like, some people can handle that. I can't. So chunks of work that are manageable.
And what do you feel is the hardest part about getting published?
For me, outside of writing, it's the noise. It's okay. So what I normally do with anything is I'll say, got a great idea. And where do I go first? Yep, the World Wide Web. I'll go on the World Wide Web and I'll start researching, and I'll find stuff. I'll find a gazillion hits on my topic, right? That's where it becomes a challenge for me, because I don't know what is fact and what's fiction and what will help or what will waste my time, because I don't have a lot of time. So the biggest challenge for me is finding the right relationship to deal with or to create that help that I need. And that to me is a lot of noise. And that's just with anything. If you're going down the world of digital marketing, there's a lot of shiny objects out there that'll waste your time and waste your money. That to me is probably the biggest challenge that I see.
Well, let's talk about marketing. So please share a marketing strategy that you're planning to use in your upcoming book launch that you feel is going to work well.
Okay, so of course I've thought about that, and of course that I will share. I started the podcast specifically to be able to create a sort of attention marketing platform. Didn't know where it was going to go. The Industrial Talk podcast is specific about interviewing people, finding out the latest and greatest that is impacting industry, and so on. Buried in that, I've had an opportunity to meet with a number of great leaders within industry, making an impact, living an innovative life, changing worlds and lives, and all that good stuff. The way I'm marketing is within the book. The business beatitudes are they're values. They're driven by the heart. But I'm drawing a correlation between those values, the heart of the leader, and the success of that leader. So although I'll go through the principles of the business beatitudes, I'm looking for leaders to reflect those values and interview them of why they believe whatever they believe in that particular category. And by virtue of that, they're going to want to buy a book. They might represent their company. So they might want to say, oh, yeah, this is great. I'm going to buy X amount. and give it to my my sales organization, whatever it might be. That's one way. Two, of course, I'm going to pump it out on my my podcast. And then three, it's a great way of being able to create goodwill. If I go to these conferences and I'm sitting there podcasting, here, pick a book. But it's strictly for opening other opportunities for sales and relationship building and all that good stuff. That's how I would do it.
Well, speaking of books, I'd like to know what is your favorite book and what was the number one thing that you learned from it.
Okay. Glad you talked about it. Let me just sort of pull up my Kindle, because that's where all my favorite books are. Okay, so I just got done reading Play Bigger, Category King, right? And the reason I went down that road is because I have a unique situation, Paul. There are not many industrial podcasts that celebrate what is being accomplished within industry. And that's what it's all other focus. And a friend of mine said, hey, you need to read Play Bigger. And it talks about the category king. And because I'm really the first, maybe the second, I don't know. But there's not many of us out there. I'm considered the category king when it comes to industrial podcasting. So when there's any economic opportunity, I'm the king because there's nobody else. But once I establish myself as the king, then I get, and it's all in the book, I get around 70, 80% of the economic benefit, and then all of the second and third and the fourth and all the other latecomers fight over the 30 or 20% of the remaining market. So that's one book that I've just really enjoyed. The other book, I like Angela Duckworth's Grit, and then the other book, this one was really good, Blue Ocean Shift, Beyond Competing. That was also a great book. I have some others, but those are some really interesting books because I've been in the mode of learning as much as I can on how to sell and market and leverage technology as much as I possibly can. And those have been such great books just to say, yeah, you're in the right direction, Scott. You continue. There's another one called Platforms. That's another one that's a good one. Platform, Get Noticed, which is great. There you go.
And for a final question, what is your favorite quote and why?
Oh, gosh. That's a great question. It's probably a Churchill quote. I can't remember offhand. You caught me off guard on that one. I don't spout it off. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed when it comes to that stuff, but I'm a big Winston Churchill fan because he just said, he believed in his heart that he's doing the right thing and he's moving forward and he takes action. And from my perspective, that is really, really appealing. Just move forward. No, I always tell everybody, just keep on moving. Be bold, be brave, dare greatly, change the world. That's all you can do. And nobody's going to die because of that. You just keep moving forward and adapt and adjust. There you go.
Well, Scott, I want to thank you for being a guest on the show. What is the best way for people to find you online?
I think the best way is just go out to industrialtalk.com and hit that contact, connect with us, whatever the menu. Boom. It comes right to me. Make it happen. And I'd be more than happy to talk to anybody. I mean, I'm an open book. What the heck? It's a big, brave, wonderful world out there, and we all need to collaborate in some way, shape, or form. I'm here to help.
Scott, thank you once again for being on the show, and I wish you all the best in your author journey
ahead. Hey, thank you. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Paul, for allowing me this opportunity to be on, talking to your listeners.
Thanks again for joining us today. To learn more about how to get your book published with a proven system that works, grab a free copy of my book at getpublishedpodcast.com.